How's it going, Mathaholics? Today we're going to learn how to order real numbers. So what exactly does this mean? Well, I'm going to look at the directions where it says write the numbers in ascending order, and in parentheses that says from least to greatest. If it said descending order, that means from greatest to least. Just keep that in mind because a lot of times on tests they're not written so neatly for us in least to greatest. They're going to say ascending, which is least to greatest, or descending, which is greatest to least. So now we have these numbers over here, and we need to write them from the least greatest, from the smallest to the biggest, basically. How do we do that? Well, I think it's easiest if we try to write them all in the same format. So for the time being, I'm going to see if we can write them as, let's write them as decimals. 3 is just going to be 3, but if you really want to get into good habits, you can write it as 3.0, 3.0. Square root of 10, I have no idea what that simplifies down to be, and if you do know off the top of your head, you're a genius. But how are we going to figure out what the square root of 10 is in order to write these numbers in ascending order? I'm going to skip over that for the time being. 3/4, that's just 0.75. And then the negative 1.5, we don't really have to do anything to it. Okay, so how do I figure out this square root of 10? As you might have seen in the previous video, we'll come up with two perfect squares that our given radical is going to fall between. 9 is a perfect square, and the square root of 16 is also a perfect square. I picked these two because the square root of 10 falls right between them. I didn't say necessarily square root of 15, for example, because that is not going to give me a perfect square. That is why I said 16, because we can see that that's going to simplify it neatly. Square root of 9 is just 3. No idea what the square root of 10 is, and then square root of 16 is 4. So knowing that the square root of 10 is between the square root of 9 and the square root of 16, we know that this is going to be 3 point something. No idea what that decimal is, but it's 3 point something. We'll keep that in mind. And then I'm just going to say 3 point S. The S stands for something. I'll keep writing it so you don't think it's 3.5. Okay, there we go. So now that we have all of that information, all we have to do is find which number is the smallest and which number is the biggest, and then the numbers in between. We only have one negative number, so that is going to be a clear giveaway that, and you know what, I'm going to add a number to this. I'm just going to add a 0. That's going to be a clear giveaway that this negative number is going to be the smallest number. Negative numbers are smaller than 0, smaller than 1. You get the point, smaller than 1/2. So the smallest number is going to be a negative 1.5. All right, finally get to say that we got that out of the way. Done with that. Okay, the next smallest number is this 0 right over here. And we know that because 0 is less than 0.75, it's less than 3 point something, and it's less than 3. So we're done with this 0, we're done with this negative 1.5 as well. That leaves us with 3 other numbers that we have to solve for. Those numbers are just these numbers right over here. Okay, of these numbers, which one's the next smallest? It's going to be that 0.75. Whoa, what happened there? Sorry about that. 0.75. Done with this. And now, question, can we just write this as 0.75? Technically, it's the right answer. However, it was given to us as a fraction. If it was something that they wanted us to just answer right away without doing any work, they would have given us all the numbers in decimals and we wouldn't really have to do much thinking. So they gave it to us in a fraction. We'll give it back to them in a fraction as well. Finally done with this. And then we have 3.0 and 3 point something. I'm wondering, this 3.0 we know is just exactly 3.0 equals 3.0. That's no brainer, okay? But then 3 point something, we don't know what that decimal is. It could be 3.0, 3.1, 3.2. So how do we know which one it is? Well, let me show you. We decided, and some of you might not even need this explanation, but some of us might. So we know that square root of 9 and square root of 16 are the perfect squares that we picked because square root of 10 falls between them. We also know that square root of 9 is exactly 3. And here we have the square root of 10. So if it was 3.0, then this wouldn't be the square root of 10. It would be the square root of 9. So it has to be greater than 3.0. Knowing that, I'm going to write my 3 down first, and then my square root of 10. And just like I said in the previous video, you can do this little estimating perfect squares with any number whatsoever. This just so happened to be a case where the number was a little small, but you could do this with 10 billion if you wanted to. It might be a little more challenging, but you could for sure do it. I hope this helped you figure out how to order real numbers, and if so, please let me know down below. Thanks.